Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I just banished my 7-year-old to the back room so that I could do a video. I don't think I've ever mentioned this on the channel before, but every once in a while when I'm doing before I do a video, I have to tell all the kids, I have to go out in the hall and say, all right, I'm making a video, and then I shut the door, and then that way they'll be quiet. And there have been many times in the middle of my videos, I don't know if you people hear them, but lots of times they will completely ignore what I told them about no fighting while I'm doing a video, and you'll hear them in the background fighting, and you'll hear the 7-year-old scream. And the irony is that normally he's the one that starts it. And so oftentimes I have to tell them to stop fighting, and I yell at them before I start a video, and I tell them, you're not allowed to fight, wait till my video's over, and if you gotta fight, fight then. So I thought that when we had kids that they were far enough apart at 13 and 7 that there wouldn't be fighting, but it's just the opposite. They fight probably more than they would if they were within a year of each other. Okay, I want to start this video out and give Green Eggs and Ham a shout out. This is, for those of you that don't know, I think most of you do, but he's To The Lifeboats on his YouTube channel, and you should subscribe to his channel. Very smart guy. He's kind of like an engineering mind, and he is very smart, does some very thorough, in-depth videos, understands the technology of all of this in a way that I could never explain to you. And so I watch him, and you should too. We all kind of serve different purposes in this space. I try to just present the daily information as best I can. And what I like to do on my channel is to kind of give you a big picture of, and sometimes insert a little common sense, like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? That's kind of the angle that I come from, and maybe that's my gift in a way. Well, Sam and Eggs, his gift is to do deep dives and to really explain technical things, and I can't do it myself. I'm not good at that type of thing. It's not my bag. So I always defer to guys like him for this kind of stuff. But in this case, what he's done here, he did a really good tweet thread yesterday, and if you want to follow him on Twitter, you can get him at Green Eggs and Ham. In fact, just a side note, when I was a kid, my mom would make green eggs and ham on St. Patrick's Day every once in a while. So I had to try green eggs and ham. That's the kids' book for those of you that still don't know what that is. Dr. Zeus. All right. But he did this tweet thread here. Julia Chatterley, this is the lady on CNN who is so smart. She's figured out how big the XRP community is and how responsive and helpful to those who are honestly covering XRP and Ripple, how helpful we are to people like that. And she has even started doing XRP tags and retweets, which is brilliant on her part. This lady's going places. I said this in a tweet yesterday. But Green Eggs and Ham tweeted this to her, and it's a string of tweets. I'm not going to go through all of it, but he really lays out the XRP case and the evolution of all of this, so that this one woman at CNN who seems to really want to cover things honestly and really understand the space instead of just hitting the surface BS that you hear. Oh, XRP is a security and it's not decentralized and all that, generalized bull crap talk. He's laying it out for her so that she can really understand it, and really it equips her to call out some of these people that she interviews that either don't know what they're talking about when they're talking about XRP, or are intentionally ignoring the facts and the truth of things when they're talking about Bitcoin and all this other stuff. So he says to her, he says, delighted to see your coverage of the crypto space. Your pertinent and informed questions set you apart from 90% of the mainstream media coverage. I want to give you a few additional ideas and talking points to research and consider. Bitcoin has first mover advantage and name brand recognition. Its Achilles heel is the 7 transactions per second it currently processes. Its use case went from replacing banks to medium of exchange to store of value because of this TPS limitation. During peak usage, massive backlogs form. Transactions go from 20 minutes to hours and to days to weeks in my case. And fees have been as high as $50 per transaction. Developers have dug their heels in even claim the high fees are good because it's being used. This way, this is why Roger Ver created Bitcoin Cash. These forks take value out of the core Bitcoin network as some investors decide to focus on the forked coin. At the core of this scaling issue is the algorithm that runs Bitcoin along with 90% of crypto's proof of work. Proof of work is an extremely wasteful way to order transactions and prevent double spend in a decentralized, permissionless network, the key innovation Bitcoin gave us. Proof of work currently consumes 1% of global energy production. Block rewards and fees incentivize miners. Because of these incentives, the wasteful energy consumption of POW mining and miners centralized in places with cheap and subsidized power. So I'm not going to go any further into this, but I want you all to go and read this. Give him a subscribe and a follow too. That's a definite. But I also wanted to show you that. My point in showing you this is this guy he's laying out the truth, and the truth seems to not matter to a lot of these Bitcoin people. Now, I want Bitcoin and I want XRP. I want them all to succeed, but I don't want Bitcoin to succeed at the expense of people out there that are investing in it and people out there that are learning about all this, not knowing the weaknesses that are there. And Green Eggs and Ham is pointing out the obvious things, the things that all of these Bitcoin maxis know. Everything that he's putting here, they know. A lot of them don't want to acknowledge it though. So anyway, in this thing now, I just had my wife and my son walk in, and just as an FYI, they have never ever, they're being quiet by the way, but they have never ever heard me do a video. And so as I finish the rest of this video, they're going to hear it all, and they've never heard me do this. My wife, who doesn't even understand this whole YouTube thing, has never heard me do a video. She's never watched one of my videos, and now they are listening to me for the first time. So if you hear me go a little bit off of my game, it's because I now have a room full of people listening to me, and I never have that. So we're going to move along now. But no, before I move along, I wanted to show you the end. This CNN lady from Julia Chatterley responded to Sam I Am and says, "Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate all the wisdom, guidance, views, thoughts, and will continue learning." So she's listening out there, and that's why this one person from CNN should do quite well in this space. Next, okay, this was from Vitze Vin, and you'll have to forgive me if I sound a little different right now because I've never done this show with anybody listening, but I think I'm doing pretty good anyway. All right. So Vitze Vin had tweeted this out yesterday. This kind of surprised me. This is a goodbye, thank you, and welcome at the same time. Hodor has been an inspiration to all of us, sharing your vision, insights, news, an amazing writer, a beloved community member, and you will still be in the future as a developer. Now, this kind of threw me back because I had no idea that this was happening. For those of you that don't know, Hodor is the guy he was really one of the first people that I started reading blogs from people in the XRP community. But he wrote this blog about how he is exiting the XRP community as far as his blog and his social platform and all of that. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I want to give you a summary, which is he's leaving to get involved in the development aspect of XRP. And for that reason, he's not actually leaving, but he said he is going to come out. I guess you're going to know who he is now. And he's going to come out and he's going to do development, and he's going to create new social media platforms that are more his developing. And so you're going to see that. Now, I just want, as he leaves, I want to tell you the one thing that always stuck in my mind from one of his blogs, one of the blogs I read about a year ago, is something that he said. He said in that blog, he said, "Don't be surprised if the 1%ers in the traditional sense are eventually the top 1% of XRP holders. In other words, don't be surprised if the people that own the top 1% of XRP one day are the 1%ers of the world in terms of wealth. That's what always stuck in my mind that he said. So I'll bid him farewell, but he's not going anywhere. And he tells you that in this blog. He's just going to be a developer now. And I also, my gut tells me that I don't think he's going to be gone from blogging itself either, because I think he enjoys what he does. So I think that I don't believe that we will not see him anymore. Okay, now I'm going to try to get through this. Michael at VAL5 Links sent me this. This is ZenPay. They tweeted this out on yesterday. ZenPay, say goodbye to high bank charges. With ZenPay, you can send up to 2,000, I think that's pounds, right, back home to Malaysia and pay no transfer fees. And it says runs on Ripple via RippleNet. So you can see, and just by looking at this picture, you can see kind of where this world is going. It's going from people with a bank account being able to do things financial to people who probably don't even know what a bank is being able to move money financially. Okay, and just as an example of that, I'll tell you, when my family was in the building business, we had a lot of people that would come and work, and they were from Mexico. There was a lot of people that would come, and they would make money, and then they would send it back to their relatives in Mexico. But they would have to physically make trips to go back to Mexico to do so. Well, think about how this changes the game. I think Mexico is one of the first corridors that Ripple has opened. Just think about how that changes the game for people like that. One of the reasons I know is because some of those people that were going back to Mexico would bring us some of their genuine tequila back when they came. And so that was one of the reasons that always stuck in my head, that they would do that. Okay, I got this from Cryptopolis. Analysts at the International Monetary Fund are comparing current global financial conditions to the types of conditions that sparked the global financial crisis. Now, you'll notice the IMF, not only have they been meeting with Ripple over the last year and a half, but they're starting to pop up a lot, I've noticed. The IMF seems to be, and you know, they just passed the baton. I can't remember the lady's name, but they just passed the baton. They got new leadership. And so watch this. I kind of pieced all this together this morning. So they're talking about how the current situation feels a lot like the financial crisis. Got this from Jonathan D at XRP_YD7. He sent me this. This is a tweet from the IMF. Non-U.S. banks play key role in dollar lending around the world. What might happen? This is the IMF talking here. What might happen if the supply of dollars dries up? Well, when I hear dries up, I think about the desert. I think about a need for what? Water, liquidity, right? Liquidity. What might happen if the supply of dollars dries up? Liquidity. Well, from XRP Crypto, well, if we get this, Ripple fused XRapid, XCurrent, and XVIA, their three products, into features of its RippleNet offering. Instead of buying XCurrent or XVIA, clients will connect to RippleNet on premises or through the cloud, and instead of XRapid, clients will use on-demand liquidity, which is what Ripple has now changed the name of their product to. If you think it's a coincidence that after everything we've talked about for the last year, that the IMF is focusing on dollars drying up, meanwhile having meetings with Brad Garlinghouse and on stage with Brad Garlinghouse, and now they've changed the name of their product to on-demand liquidity. And we also have talked about Chris Larson, the chairman of Ripple, being on stage at Money 2020 and talking about how he thought in another financial crisis, the liquidity problems that were the big problem in the last one could be solved by a digital asset such as XRP. None of these are coincidences. I'm moving along. Michelle Vandenberg sent me this. Here's an article. This was from the interview that Brad Garlinghouse did with Fox Business this week. And I'm going to read this part to you. For Garlinghouse, China amping up its endeavors on the CBDC, which is central bank digital currency, is a call to action. In an interview with Fox Business, Ripple CEO urged the U.S. to take the lead in the wake of China's proposed crypto analogizing the rise of cryptocurrencies to the tech boom in 2000 and the forward-facing stance the U.S. took back then. Garlinghouse alludes that American influence could yield positive results. And then he goes on, turning to the motives behind China's venture, the conversation shifted to the potential of the CBDC subverting U.S. sanctions on the country. For Garlinghouse, this is a key component of China's plan. The concern was recently raised by 2 members of Congress. I'm not going to go any further into that, but he's talking about China. He says part of the opportunity that they see is how they can dislodge the dollar. So you got the IMF talking about dollar problems. You got Ripple changing their product's name to on-demand liquidity, and the huge problem the IMF is pointing out is the drying up of the dollars. Meanwhile, the bad guys, China, who controls Bitcoin, 80% of Bitcoin mining in China, and then Brad Garlinghouse is talking about the threat that China represents. Okay, and then there was this from XRP Darren, in case y'all forgot. This is a tweet that Ripple tweeted on the August 28th of 2017. This is from Ripple, welcomed China's central bank, industry leaders and academic leaders to Ripple headquarters to discuss the latest blockchain trends. So here's China going to Ripple headquarters. Their central bank is meeting with Ripple at Ripple headquarters. And remember, this is the same China who has spent the last 15 years using their hackers to steal the secrets of the United States. And we know for a fact that they have 80% of Bitcoin mining. So they control Bitcoin. That's fact. Now, what would someone who has a whole system in place to have their hackers to not just hack the secrets of the United States, but to try to bust our politicians in compromising situations? I've covered that before too, through all kinds of means to get the secrets and to control them. And then they want to go and act like they're friends and meet with Ripple. Okay. Are you putting all this together? I am. Okay. So now, and this is from, I kind of wanted to present all of that in order to you, but now this is from Chinu Patel at Chinu Patel 29. And he hasn't put his official title in his name yet here. I think I mentioned that in the last video. If he'll put his official name, I will call him by his very important title. I think he's like a global, I think I made him like a global advisor to the channel or something. I have one or two, but they have different specific titles. I think he's the global, I can't remember if it was from India or what, but anyway, we'll figure that out. Okay, so then there's this from the IMF. At Mark_Phillips. I'll be tuning in. Will you? Wonder what they'll say about the ESDR blockchain. I dare say it, XRP. This is a tweet from the IMF. The world of payments and currencies is changing. Is big tech the future of finance? Watch our live conversation on October 16th at 3 p.m. Now, I would tell you that Alex Cobb will probably be the guy that live streams this if you can watch it live. And so he's probably going to be the man there. And then what I do is I'll find out what they said and summarize it for you. That's more my bag. XRP Dave says this: society has literally learned nothing from the 2008 crash. When there is going to be a liquidity crisis, there will be. You bet that XRP is going to be used to solve this problem. Now, how big of a part of that will XRP be? Who knows? But I believe it'll be in the mix. Okay, and then we've got this from XRP Vegas. He's changed his symbol to a mafia type symbol with a machine gun. He used to have a casino theme, which I really liked. I like this one too, though. And this was a tweet from Emi Yoshikawa, and I know I'm butchering her name, but she works for Ripple, and she's doing that Japan crypto meetup. Japan's XRP community member, I'm not going to try to say their name because I'll pronounce it wrong, is launching a fun program called X Run Party, in which participants compete by running consistently during a specified period of time and get rewarded with XRP. He will talk about this program at the XRP community meetup in Japan. And then I got this from NBK Crypto. This was from Craig DeWitt, who is, I believe he's an engineer at Ripple. Now that the Spring SDK has launched, I'm working on an XRPL side project any musicians or podcasters interested in selling their stuff for XRP direct to their address, I'm thinking about building a site that allows MP4 downloads for direct XRP donations to the creator. So that sounds pretty cool. And then finally, Lord Lionel. I don't know why he put the Lord in his name, but I've decided I'm going to make him the official Lord of the Digital Asset Investor channel, because I don't cover anybody else who has Lord in their name. So you're an official Lord now, Lionel. I said before, every time I see his name, he reminds me of Lionel Richie, one of my favorite singers. But anyway, that's beside the point. You're the official Lord of the Digital Asset Investor channel now. But he sent me this. MoneyGram launches in Pakistan. Customers will be able to send money to any bank account in Pakistan. Pakistan is a key market that is positioned for growth, especially in terms of receiving remittances. I'm the Digital Asset Investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that the Digital Asset Investor just did almost an entire show with his wife listening, and she's never listened before. Thanks for listening.